this is on Zoom as well, so we have 2 pitches by Zoom. So the investors, when you ask questions, that will be on Zoom, and the rest will be live today. So I'm Zahava Stroud, founder of Angel Launch, and I've been producing tech events in Silicon Valley for 9 years, connecting startups to investors. We've seen a lot of ups and downs in the market, and we are pleased that we still have attracted a large group of investors. There are still a lot of angels in the Valley who are willing to fund. We know it's very challenging now to raise money from VCs. I'm getting calls every day from people telling me that their investors said they just committed and they can't fund them anymore. And has anyone had that happen? Ever heard about that? So we're pleased at least to have a place to, right, but we fortunately still have investors here who are funding. And just a little bit about us, we are going to go through about 14 pitches today from about 3:30 to 5:30. We keep it in very tight order by number of minutes. Every pitch gets 2 minutes at the end for Q&A, so after the first week, you'll see how we do it. I'm going to read you the order of the pitches, and if you're pitching, you could just come sit there right before your session, then we don't have to wait for you. It goes very smooth, so let me read you the order. We'll introduce Jake, and then we'll introduce our host. Okay, so I'll introduce our host first. So we are very pleased that this is, I think, our 17th month that we've been hosted at this beautiful church, Crossroads Church, and we could not do it without the gracious hospitality of their team and their pastor, Jake Duckworth. So let's give them a round of applause for hosting us here. We would like to ask Jake to say a few words.
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome you guys. We're glad you're in this space. One of the things that this church has endeavored to do for about the last 5 or 6 years is come alongside startups and people who are putting themselves out there and trying to launch something. So we have a little co-working space that we open up. It's that room out there where you do your networking after the presentations. And we just love to have people come and share space and network with one another and find encouragement from one another. It's pretty grueling, the things that you're trying to do. It's hard, and especially these days, working remote, you feel that sense of isolation. So we encourage you, come give us a visit, we'll make friends. Just in talking with some of you already, and I see some of the nods from the encouragement, one of the things that I do, I can't coach you in your business or anything like that, but I am a spiritual guide, and I love to come alongside people and just share myself, pray with you. Of course, I do that from the Christian perspective, but just want you to know that's who we are here, and we think that that is one of the ways that we can be followers of one of the greatest examples ever, Jesus. And so I also thought that I wouldn't be doing my job right if I didn't tell you that we have also a Sunday morning service here at 10:30. We are a small congregation. If you were to show up, you'd be with about 25 of us. My son plays the drums, he's 13. My daughter plays the keyboard, she's 10. Like, we just do our own little tiny thing, but it's sweet. And of course, you'd always be welcome. Last thing I'll do is, they asked me if I wanted to pray, and I was like, no, I feel weird praying with you. But what I can do is I would just like to speak a blessing over you and the work that you're trying to do. Okay? This is from Numbers, 6. It says, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord turn his face and make it shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace." And all things that you're trying to do, that's what we hope for you, that you will find peace.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that, and we enjoy being in your place of worship. So I'm going to read now the order. We have 2 remote pitches. First, Jason and Christian. Then we have live Trevor McKeeman, Daniel Cullum, Cam Nguyen, Deepa Vivekanandan, Tom Brady, Aditya Sharma, Henry Fataki, Carl Heckert, Mike Askew, Brian Knott, Rosenbridge, Andrew Philo. And then we have the startup pitches from Startup House, which Sergey has to be registered through him. So that's the order, so if you can kind of remember where you are, then you can come up before we go to the next one. And we're, two more quick things I wanted to mention to you. We have, next week is BDC, the Game Developer Conference. I have a website that has free party lists on there. You can just go to angellunch.com and click on that link. In 3 weeks is the RSA cybersecurity. I also have a website with free parties and free expo passes to that one, April 21st through 29th. We're planning this event. We've been doing it every third Thursday. We're planning to keep doing it. So whatever the date is, you can look up.
20th of
April 20th will be the next event. We might start a little earlier so we can have more time to pitch and some more panels with investors. So look for that. And then also we have an opportunity, we were invited, we're not sure if there's interest, but there's a huge Dubai startup conference in October for 700 investors and a few thousand startups. And they invited us to send startups to that conference and investors who might want to meet investors from all around the world.
In the middle.
So that's something you might be interested in. We're trying to see the level of
Yeah, because the green, right?
We're
gonna be here. I will show you. See
in
you.
October and meeting Middle Eastern investors. Good to know, so we'll keep posted on that. All right, so now we're going to introduce our investors. We'll ask you, is there a mic there? Mike, if you don't mind, we're waiting, we still have 2 more coming. And I think one of, so, yeah, so before you start, why don't you just stand up, introduce yourself and what you invest in, what kind of investing you do, angel, VC, and how much you invest per year.
All right, we got it. My name is Stratos, Davos. I'm an angel investor from the North Bay. I have 5 exits so far. I recently decided to start investing money direct and do it through a new venture. So Divine Ventures and my partner Marius is here. I will make sure that you see funds, if they're not investable, we will figure out ways to de-risk you and make you investable. Our thesis is early stage startups. We typically put money into pre-seed and seed level companies. The companies that are interesting to us are the ones that have an AI-centric kind of capability and have a lot of experience in that space. So I'm encouraged to see all of you. Good luck with your presentations, and if you like to get hold of me, LinkedIn is the best way to do it. And come and see me after the event.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Albert Golosov. I'm a CEO and founder of a company called Access Logic. Well, hopefully none of you, especially startups, will encounter us in terms of, because we do asset liquidation for high-tech companies. I'm here, but we do work with more mature companies in terms of life cycle management and excess inventory and asset recovery in terms of their pivoting or office closures and so forth. I'm actually here when Sergey invited me to assess critically some of the startups here because I actually do business consulting and advising to as advisor to some of the boards and startups in terms of their business models and presentations because we see it all in our business, from biotech to flying apparatuses. So we have vast expertise, so to speak, in projects, and certainly welcome any questions. Unfortunately, I will be only here for about 20 more minutes because we have another event. Unfortunately, we were kind of misinformed about the timing, but I will see you on all future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wong. I work with Network PC, so basically mostly software investment in software company, and then we do seed and Series A, and then myself, my passion is actually with fintech and sustainability, GC and C.
Thank you. And I have another investor who said he's stuck in traffic. He'll be here soon. You can just keep the mic there. Okay, so we're going to start with Sergey. Okay, Jason, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Zahava. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Jason. We're going to start with Jason on Zoom, and tell us where you're from, Jay. Where are you, Jason?
I'm in sunny Cincinnati.
Okay, great.
That's
Go
all.
ahead, Jason. So Jason has 4 minutes to pitch and then 4 minutes of questions.
Great. Thanks, Zahava. Thank you, folks, for having some time here to listen to what I'm about to talk about. I really appreciate it. We're looking to really address a significant problem, which is a shortage of science, technology, engineering, arts, humanities, and math researchers and scientists, a tremendous shortage, and we're looking to address that. I'm the founder. This is my 5th startup. I've had a previous exit. During that one, actually developed some really interesting intellectual property that went through national security review and gave rise to Therapoid, the company that I'm about to share with you. My background, I had a military career. I've been a researcher, I've been an educator, multiple patents, and I'm sorry? Yeah. So as I mentioned, the problem we're solving is this very high demand for STEM. At this time, there's about a 60% shortfall in openings that are available relative to the labor force to fill them. The non-STEM is growing at about 4% annually. However, STEM is growing at 24%. So it's a pretty acute squeeze that's happening with available talent. It's also very expensive to place talent in the STEM fields. It can cost up to $15,000 and take 6 months to place somebody. So it's not only very time consuming, but also expensive. So our solution is essentially a Reddit plus LinkedIn for scientists and students. You can think of this as message boards with a huge incentive. It's free to use, and there are 2 primary giant incentives. The first one are digital object identifiers. We are the first message board system in the world to be able to publish digital object identifiers with message board postings. So imagine being a Reddit, you write something very valuable, 3 days later it's gone, nobody ever finds it. With DOIs, we changed that. The second one is the award of Science Coins cryptocurrency, which we just launched. And that's really important for those people that are economically challenged, say Africa, Asia, and Latin America. So DOI is really good for publications, the cryptocurrency good for people who are short on currency. These 2 huge incentives and a few others forms a big candidate pool that recruiters can then pay us to mine. So the business model is really simple. With incentives, we gain a huge global crowd of scientists and students. We sell recruiters and advertisers access to them, and we repeat it. The market is almost $500 billion for this recruiting market. Right now, there's approximately 20,000 recruiting companies, and at any one time, there are 3 million STEM openings that need to be filled in the US that with Therapoid, we'll be able to help provide that shortfall. Our users, we're looking at 10,000 users in 2024. Our numbers are already pretty good. So we just did a hard launch about a month ago, less than a month ago, and our numbers are already good. We're going to start this ball rolling with our listserv that we inherited from the National Science Foundation. We have about 2,000 very senior researchers in that listserv, and we're going to funnel those in with their colleagues and generate the network effect. The current stats, as I mentioned, just within the last month, we've got over 850 visitors with more than 2 minutes on site, and we've had no marketing. We've done 0 marketing. Our projections are very, very modest. We're only looking at about 3 million in 2024. But as we grow the crowd, we think this will ramp up significantly so that by year 5, I think we can be close to 200 million. The funding thus far have raised $5 million. I'm very proud to say that 60% of our investors are minorities and women. That's something I think is unusual. And we also have a very important strategic partner as part of that. The team includes myself. My chief science officer is a world-leading neuro expert out of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. My CTO is my strategic partner, V2Soft. My network engineer, he built the World Food Program. And we have just a world-class team of community managers and scientists. In summary, we're starting with message boards that have huge incentives with the award of DOIs under what we call a proof of science, which then give rise to science coins, cryptocurrency. It's a huge TAM. We have a kick-ass team. We'll form the largest think tank on the planet. We're looking for $500,000 bridge, and that'll get us to a 5 million Series A round. Our use of funds, 2. That's it. Marketing, no product development, it's done. Marketing and a scaling CEO. Our goal is to 5 years be at a $250 million valuation, have a new CEO in place to get us acquired. With that, I appreciate the time, and I'll take any questions.
Great. Questions from any of our judges?
All right, I'll take a question, and it's a fairly naive question. I'm not sure if I noted correctly a statement you made. So you're saying you're going to have 10,000 users by 2024? That seems a little low. So am I misquoting you?
I didn't quite hear all the question. I heard something about users in 2024. That's all I got.
What is your projection for the number of users by 2024?
Yeah, we're looking at.
Can you hear it, Jason?
Yeah, I got it now. We're looking at 10,000 users. So we're not talking about a very aggressive number here. We're already at nearly 1,000 here in the first month. So, but I'd like to stick to the 10 because that's how our financial model is scaled. And then I think by 2025, this really starts to hum along.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Anyone?
I just for a while. My question is like, how much have you raised so far?
Thus far, I've raised $5 million, and it's all angel money except for a strategic partner. So we've had a pretty good amount of funding in, and this has been a 4-year build of this platform. This platform was not built in a garage in Palo Alto, I need to tell you. This was every bit of a $5 million effort. And the platform is much more than message boards, but that is the entry point. Once the users are in the platform, all kinds of other features pop up for them. And that gives them a total, what we call open science experience. So we're an open science company, and think of what we're doing to science, what open source did for software. So that's a really big lift for us, but we're the very first in the space to have launched a DeSci, decentralized science, open science platform on the blockchain. So we're really proud of that. We're not talking about it, we did it.
I think we had another question, Jason.
Yep.
Can you come up here? She's going to ask it.
Hey, Jason.
Hi.
Can you talk a little bit more about DOIs? So usually with scientists, you get a DOI tied to a data set or academic publication or like a preprint associated with a preprint repository. So can you talk a little bit about the relationship and what do you actually have to do to get a DOI? Is there work attached?
Great question. This is something we're extremely proud of. So we've integrated the award of DOIs, digital object identifiers, which, as you rightfully noted, is essentially a serial number that goes on journal articles, intellectual properties, grants, and that serial number allows for the indexing of that piece of content in perpetuity. What we've done is imagine taking Reddit, you make a message on the Reddit board, and then the community says, wow, that's innovative, that's interesting, that's something we want to cite into the future, let's offer a DOI for it. If the community votes in the affirmative for that, then we would award a DOI. That DOI is what we call a proof of science, and that then awards science coins cryptocurrency to the DOI awardee. There are DOIs being awarded at other points throughout the platform. There is a preprint server. There will be DOIs for that. And the big breakthrough here, though, is being able to catch these micro thoughts in a message board and giving them DOIs. That is something that nobody has ever done before, and it sets us apart. And as you might imagine, that is huge honey to the research and student community.
Great, Jason. Well, thank you very much for a great presentation. And we see your phone number there, which people can take pictures of if they want to reach you. And what is your email address? address?
Yeah, it's easy to get me, Jason at therapoid.org. You can get any, info at therapoid.org, but direct to me is Jason at therapoid.org.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And now we're going to go to our next Zoom presenter, Christian.
Thanks, Zahava. See ya.
Nice seeing you again. See you in person soon.
Yep.
Hi,
Yeah,
hi, Sally. Can you hear me okay?
Wait. Okay, fine, thank you. 1 minute, Sergey, you got to put up Christian here in the line. 1 minute, not yet. We hear you. We're moving to your slide.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, we see you now. Okay, now we have Christian, who is in Chicago, My Sure Fit.
Hi, I'm Christian Ruth. Have you ever gone shopping for clothing online and experienced that moment of frustration when you have to order multiple sizes, or you're not sure if items are going to actually match, especially across brand, and after patiently waiting for everything to arrive, you discover they don't fit, they don't match, so now you have the hassle of processing and return? Well, you're not alone. My wife had the same frustrating experience. But I noticed there's not just a consumer problem, there's also a brand retailer unit economic problem. Why? Because they lost her as a customer, they lost her friends as referred customers, and they're going to lose other customers because their inventory is sitting on our dining room table, which leads to stockouts. In addition, the items she ordered were winter attire, which meant when they finally got back to warehouse, they were probably out of season and out of trend, which meant they took an inventory write down. This is a very large problem. In fact, there are over 100 million shoppers for e-commerce fashion in the US alone. Half of them say they have frustrations of lack of visualization. Half of them also say they order multiple sizes. This results in a return rate of over 40% each year, totaling $100 billion in losses every single year. The solution? My Sure Fit, the smart fitting room, a multi-patent platform that provides retailers and their customers with self-visualization, outfit creation and mix and match, and a fit solution that standardizes unique measurements across shoppers on various brands. We increase information quality pre-purchase, increase confidence, we drive higher sales, we reduce returns, and we make brand retailers more profitable. Everybody wins, the consumer and brand retailers. Customers can easily upload their photo. Our measurement is 99% accurate, and they can shop across brand using the smart fitting room. They can even get feedback from their friends before they buy. When they check out, they just select My Sure Fit. They only order one size and they keep it. We solve the problem for everybody in the ecosystem. Some competitors have attempted to provide single point solutions to the market problem for e-commerce. But My Sure Fit was co-created with shoppers to address their comprehensive needs along the entire e-commerce journey. We create value for those customers and the brand retailers and referred customers and our shareholders by providing the unique value benefits that benefits everybody in the system. We capture value by charging brand retailers a revenue share to license our technology. And because we're completely digital, we have very high unit economics and we can scale to achieve significant revenue and profitability. And just to prove that, we did a test run on My Sure Fit selling multiple brands to various customers. We generated thousands of customers who ordered thousands of items from over 250 brands. We outperformed the industry in terms of conversion rates, reorder rates. 90% of our revenue came from referrals. And we did all of this while reducing returns to less than 2%. That's 95% lower than the industry average. Our go-to-market strategy includes a push-pull, just like we saw with our own test. We will help brand retailers launch our platform, and we will use the consumers to help pull more consumers to use My Sure Fit and to drive other brand retailers to launch My Sure Fit as well. We already have a list of over 100,000 potential retail platform targets, and we plan to launch with a major platform this year. As you might imagine, the market for fashion e-commerce is huge and it's growing. It's over $300 billion in the US alone, which represents a revenue opportunity for over $4 billion for MySureFit each year. Even better, we have a great team. We have a highly experienced management team with over 100 years of experience in fashion, technology, and marketing. We have over $1 billion in exits between all of us, and we have a world-class SAB with industry experts and academic researchers. We're looking to raise $1.5 million to initiate the launch on a major platform for this year. Half of the proceeds approximately half will be used to continue to support product enhancement and features based on feedback from customers and brand e-commerce partners. The rest of it's for commercialization and a little bit for G&A. So if you're looking to invest in a major market that's dealing with a major problem with a company that has demonstrated it can deliver a differentiated experience that benefits both brand retailers and consumers, then I hope that you will consider a smart investment, MySureFit, the smart fitting room. Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you, Christian. The audience is applauding for you. All right, so questions from any of our judges? We have 2 new judges, and you can introduce yourself as long as when you stand up, say your name, what you invest in, where you live, since you're North Bay Angels, and then you can ask your question.
You're going to try to remember all of those.
Yeah.
I'll start with my name. I still remember that one. I'm Che Boyd. I'm here as part of North Bay Angels. We have been a group of angel investors north of the Golden Gate since the late 90s, been through a number of cycles, etc. And our membership tends to be tech focused because a lot of our members have retired up from there, but we get a lot of wine deals also based on our geographic location. And then we'll also do real estate. So that tends to be the deals that do the best with us.
And you had a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my last question. What was my question? Christian, I know this is a market space that's been around for a while. There are a number of apps out on the market, etc. I know that you said you had a differentiated solution. Could you tell us what that is?
Yes, we provide the ability. Well, first of all, we've been researching and developing for a while, working with consumers. So we identify what the consumers actually wanted. We have the ability to scale digital visualization of garments on users' images or a demo model, and we can scale a fit solution without requiring any tech packs from the actual brands. So it's a completely digital solution that provides the comprehensive features for the consumer: visualization, mixing and matching, sharing it feedback, as well as a reliable fit standard. The fact that we have demonstrated that across with thousands of different customers and for all shopping categories and for across hundreds of brands speaks to the quality of our platform. There's a lot of noise in the market. There's been a lot of dead bodies over the years. We're well aware of that, but we can defend our position, I think, pretty well.
And are you using the LiDAR or visual only channel?
Sorry, say again?
Are you using the LiDAR channel on the phone in addition to the visual or visual only?
I'm not. That may be a technical question for our CTO.
Okay.
All right, great. All right, thank you. Thank you. Do we have any other questions for Christian? Yes, we have another question, Christian.
Christian, this question is along the lines of the previous question. So you probably know Stitch Fix, for example. They're fairly successful and have a very powerful recommendation engine, which is why they have such a large customer base. Can you speak to your recommendation engine capabilities and how you would promote or attract customers?
I didn't fully understand the question. It's hard to hear, but basically Stitch Fix could be a partner, right? Because we're now providing visualization and we are gathering proprietary data that retailers have never had before. For example, what styles are they picking based on body shape, which is actually validated because of our digital management standardization system, and skin tone, hair color, eye color, right? So we actually could end up being a partner for someone like a Stitch Fix.
Great, thank you. Do we have any more questions? We have time for one more. Okay, we have another question. Yeah.
No problem. What traction do you have? What companies are you working with, or B2C customers? What traction and revenue?
Yeah, so
What traction do you have, and what are your customers and revenue?
yes, so as I mentioned, we developed this by focusing on the consumer first. We wanted to have very strong validation because we knew there was a lot of dead bodies in the water. We have over 9,000 consumer customers on that test, both men and women. And now what we want to do is, now that we've validated the capability and the scalability, we now want to launch that on some major platforms. We've already had conversations with one of them. They've got thousands of stores on their platform. So, we've validated with the consumers, and we now want to go ahead and get scale through the B2B channel.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, Christian. We've ended the time for questions, but great presentation. And what is the best way people should reach you? What's your email?
Yeah, it should be up on the presentation. It's Christian@mysurefit.com.
All right, Christian at mysurefit.com, and you can still stay on Zoom if you want and watch the other presenters.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you so much. That finishes our Zoom portion. We do have 2 new investors who came since we introduced everyone. And before we go live, please stand up. Your name, what you invest in, what are the markets you're interested in, and what kind of fund you have, and how much you usually.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Sahaba, for inviting me. So my name is Akif, and our firm is called Podium. We're across sports and entertainment, which includes everything from gaming, sports, health, fitness, athlete venues, smart venues, ticketing. So we are the pre-seed to seed stage, and we also have an investor group and a syndicate. We have some athletes, professional athletes, as well as typical tech investors. That's pretty much it.
All right, great, thank you. Well, we have another investor here.
So I'm Alexander, partner at Network VC. We are industry agnostic fund. Usually invest 2 startups per month. We are geographically agnostic, also invest several hundred K usually. So yeah, we are looking for startups actually. Thank you.
All right, and thank you. And now we'll have our first live presenter. There's a mic, I think, up there. From Pitchpin. And I first met Trevor. He pitched at our CS event in Las Vegas. He did a great presentation, and he's made a lot of progress in food tech, so he's here to tell you about that.
Sounds good.
No, that one is good.
Should work.
It's good. We can hear.
Can you
We can hear. Yeah. Clicker.
First
Clicker.
of all, thank you for
Clicker. Oh, everything is good. I mean, clicker over there. Just take it. Yeah, try it, please. That's good. Awesome.
All right. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Actually, I want to thank obviously Zahara and those that put this on, but it's kind of an interesting venue, and I like the blessing that took place beforehand. I think a lot of the reasons why people do startups is there's a soul behind it. There's obviously a financial reason, but there's also a soul. You'll see that with Hitchpin. So Hitchpin is my 3rd tech company, and so I guess not my first rodeo. And it's an ag supply chain company that's a marketplace. So this comes from years of experience sort of in the ag sector and seeing a huge gap is developing. I was actually just up in a food tech conference here earlier this morning, and you got all the big players in the world on this food supply chain. They were talking about this right now. So this is highly relevant, I think, in our current situation. So folks are aware that the supply chain for food is in a really fragile state right now. You have the war in Ukraine, the pandemic, all these things are accelerating volatility in that space. It was volatility that was going to happen anyway when we did the math on Hitchpin. Even without Ukraine and the pandemic, this stuff is coming. If you guys get a chance to look at that article in The Economist, it's really worth taking a look at. It says the coming food catastrophe and war is tipping a fragile world. And that's true. So even if we sort out things with the pandemic and Ukraine, we're still going to see this for the next several decades. And why is this relevant to investors? The food space is one of the largest industries in the world. So it's a massive market, and the technologies that we have is very scalable. It's similar to other marketplaces that you guys are all aware of. So it's certainly, you're addressing big problems. And everybody is familiar with the marketplaces that have done well already. They transformed lodging and transportation. And we really thought, why hasn't this happened in food? The reason is food is much more complicated than sort of single category items. It's an incredibly complex supply chain, but these are also some of the fastest growing companies out there. And I think the same thing is happening in the food side of the equation too. And I'd say, probably a number of people in the room came here today on an Uber or a Lyft, and they probably booked hotel rooms using a marketplace. There's probably a lot of people that didn't do that today. I would say that a good chunk of everybody ate today. And so when we think about the marketplaces moving into food production, it's something that will touch everybody, sort of everybody on the planet when it's at scale. There's certainly a financial reason to do this, but there's also many other reasons. Food is going to be a national security issue. I used to work on the Hill for a member of Congress, and he's on Senate Intel. We're going to see this over the next couple of years. The food supply is going to be one of those strategic points. And then, there's a soul behind it. The gentleman on the left, his name Will, his generation is going to get pushed out of this business. And then there's a lot of folks that are like Will, that like to get into this business, that have no shot at it. So unless you've got a technology that can kind of get somebody's foot in the door, with the capital costs of this industry, we're going to see a lot of people get. So it's pretty, with your investor hat on or with your entrepreneurial hat on, it's pretty rare in your career where you see all these waves that are about ready to hit a single industry. There's about 5 waves about ready to hit food production. And really, this is stuff we go through pretty fast. You've got a population that's going to increase by 2 billion. We're going to have to increase food production by 70%. Humans have never done this before at this kind of scale. We're going to see huge consolidation in the space, which means logistics and how you produce food and how you transport food is going to get more complicated. So anyway, huge structural problems. A big chunk of this is land is typically owned by older individuals. I heard, when there was talk about land and interest there, actually we've been asked to add land to Hitchpin. There's a customer that has $1 billion of ag real estate that they want to add as a category to Hitchpin that we're working on right now. Equipment is expensive. I grew up farming. We had 5 machines, 5 combines when I was growing up, and kind of kept repairing to keep running. This stuff is automated and expensive and hard now. And so fewer people, if you look at mining and other industries, fewer people are going to own it. And the people that do own it are going to have to keep it running constantly to pay for it. And then labor is, and I have to tell this story about how challenging labor is. So all this sort of adds up to, one of the biggest challenges I think humans face over the next decade. So how do you fix it? Hitchpin is a platform that allows you to buy and sell ag products and services. So if you think about that, that could be point to point between producers, but it could also be up and down the supply chain. So I was just at this conference, I just met with folks at Walmart and ADM and kind of all the way up that supply chain. They are looking for ways of seeing their data and where these sources of food are coming from. And so we're able to connect that really at the field level all the way through processing. This is a game changer, and we'll get into why it's so big. So this is in the normal sort of state pre-Hitchpin. This is telephony based. You have folks calling around, asking for somebody to do a particular service or product. It'd be kind of like you guys trying to book a flight and calling every airline versus going to a marketplace to actually find that ticket. So we allow a seller to list for free. They can connect really fast, get paid fast. We escrow the money between the buyer and the seller. And then there's a success fee upon a successful transaction. Same thing on the buyer. You get a chance to find what you need much quicker. This isn't a half a day calling around. The automatic funds transfer is pretty nice. Pretty game changing. We've had, it's coast to coast at this point. We've had transactions as close as 7 miles and as far as 1,400 miles. So a neighbor didn't know the neighbor was selling something, but then you had 2 counterparties that would have never met without a marketplace. We're seeing higher value. So while a lot of the tech that you see in food is sort of theoretical at this point, we're actually arbitraging right now. The drought in the West has allowed us to move product from the East to the West. So it's a real thing. It's solving real problems. And then the secure payment piece I can't underscore how game-changing that is. We're actually as much a fintech as we are sort of a marketplace, and that ability to have a producer with $100,000 of their merchandise leaving the farm hit their HitchPin wallet, and they know they're going to get paid is absolutely huge. As an example of how fast we're moving, we just launched HitchPin Storefronts. Storefronts gives producers their own URL. So now they can have not only their listings out there, but they can have a URL that gets them spun up with payment processing in about 3 minutes. Again, something that's just not possible for HitchPin. The market in ag is huge. Our current categories on HitchPin alone today are 139 billion. That's before we add real estate and some of these others. So that's in the US alone. And frankly, I think it'll grow even faster in developing markets. We've got great traction. Over 63,000 producers on the app have listed over 133 million in just products, that's not services, in 49 states. Is there any way to clear the bottom part of that? Thank you. Yeah. So fast traction, we started in the center part of the country and moved to the sides. There you go. So you can see we started in the center part of the country and moved to the sides very quickly, and now the density is backfilling in the center. So this is a game about density, moving supply and demand up at the right time frame. You can't build this without a great team. We've got a phenomenal management team that includes exits. Our VP of operations came out of a marketplace exit. It was a $425 million exit. We've got a fintech IPO guy running our product. My background is in ag policy, production agriculture, and really researched marketplaces when I was at MIT and thinking about how we build this. We've had success fundraising. Our first round we did in 12 days, so there's an appetite for this. We just completed an internal only round. All of our investors want to put money in. And so we had a couple guys on the perimeter that wanted in that weren't on the cap table, so we opened a convertible note round, and that's what I'm going to fill very quickly here. And then we're already visiting with some larger investors on the scale of round after that. So we've built technology, we've expanded across the country. We've got things like HitchPin Pay, empowered by HitchPin, which is pretty amazing. That takes even outside the marketplace transactions, peer-to-peer. And then with the ability to move money, you can stack financing and insurance and a bunch of other add-on opportunities to it. So, and then eventually we'll go outside the US. You can feel free to take a photo of my email and phone number there, and I'm going to be in the back if anybody wants to come and visit. We're moving very quickly, and I appreciate the chance to be here.
Great, thank you.
Trevor, that was a great presentation. Thanks for that. I have a couple of questions. When you're evaluating marketplaces, you want to understand the transaction volume and profit margin per transaction. It sounds like you have 63,000 odd producers. Who's the target audience for consumers?
I love that question. I would say right now it's a B2B play mostly. We have the capability to go B2C, but we really did a post-mortem evaluation of every marketplace that had tried this space. Most of them tried to go B2C too early, and they, when you're selling transactions at $30 a pop, it's pretty tough to do it. So our average listing value right now is over $33,000 per listing, and our average transaction value is over $9,000. And that's everything from a $300 animal to $1 million piece of equipment. So it's quite a range. So nail the B2B side of it first, and then you have the capability to go the B2C route.
So just two quick questions. One, I guess just a follow-up on that question. So is most of your sort of early traction based on these B2B transactions? What's the profile of these people who are actually converting into these purchases? Like, are those the big suppliers? So that's one question. And I guess the other second part of that question is, because these supply chains, I'm assuming, tend to be very regional. I'm from Illinois, for example, originally.
I'm from Kansas.
So that whole sort of chain that goes through there. So even though you're national, are you trying to focus on certain regions and kind of get those up to speed, and then kind of as it gradually expands?
All great questions. I'll answer the density question first. So density, we do that. We focus on a particular geography and we expand it, and then we can move The nice thing about having a horizontal marketplace with lots of categories is you can run simultaneous experiments across each category. So you can do them in different geographies, you can do them in different commodities, and it allows you to have a faster iteration cycle. As you guys know, farming is a seasonal business, and so if you just did one category, you're going to get really one shot at it seasonally, and so this allows you to sort of scale that effort. As far as the profile of the investor, or the profile of the customer, I'll give you maybe a quick example of that. We had they're both buyers and sellers, so they're not just one side or the other. We had a gentleman that came in and bought a $3,000 service, and he offered a $6,000 service that he sold $500,000 in grain. Now he's got a demand side listing for hay at over $1 million. So we're seeing them move up the value chain with bigger and bigger transactions, everything from small producers to large producers.
All right, great. Well, thank you for that. We'll be here afterwards. We'll have demo tables, and we have 2 hours of dinner, drinks, and networking where all the action happens, where that you can talk to them further. Now we have Sonesta. All right, we're good. Great. All right, so we're doing fine. Well, now we're down to 7.
You guys are gonna have to give me a break. I'm not nearly as prepared as he is. I have an outline notes. All right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Danny Cullum. I'm with Sonesta Solar. Today I'm excited to talk to you guys about an innovative solution for problems that affect every single one of us. Food security, water scarcity, and energy shortages. As our population grows, we face a major challenge. How do we sustainably feed everyone while still protecting our planet? Unfortunately, our current farming practices aren't sustainable, and we are using up all of our natural resources. Currently, agriculture uses a shocking 30% of our global water consumption, as well as 30% of our global energy consumption and 70% of our water consumption. This contributes to greenhouse gas emissions and depletes our water supply. As a result, farmers are struggling to keep up with food demand, energy, water shortages. This leads to lower crop yields, higher costs for farmers, and food insecurity for millions of people around the world. With the global population expected to grow by 2.2 billion by 2050, farmers will need to produce 70% more than they are today. These are some of the challenges our farmers are facing right now. Decreasing crop yields, worsening water shortage, increasing energy demand, unpredictable weather. This is across the board, across the globe. We need a new solution that increases crop production, saves water, generates renewable energy, and we need it now. This is where our innovative solution comes in. It's an efficient way to achieve all these goals all at once. Let me introduce you to agrivoltaics. Agrivoltaics is the practice of co-locating agriculture and solar energy production in the same location. This innovative technique allows farmers to grow crops and generate energy simultaneously without compromising the productivity either. Our team has developed a high-efficiency solar module that are designed specifically for agrivoltaics. Our innovative solar module, designed with low-cost, light-steering optics, has the potential to revolutionize the way we produce both energy and food. By utilizing the semi-transparent module, you can see up in the top left, by utilizing our semi-transparent module, which can redirect direct sunlight onto the solar cells, while letting the beneficial light for the plants pass through. Farmers can achieve the perfect balance of light for energy production and plant growth. Our module's optical film, prior to installation, can be adjusted to tailor the amount of direct light on the cells to best suit the needs of that particular crop. An example would be lettuce leaves growing up to 30% larger under agrivoltaics, as well as the California cherry farmer saving 50% of their crops due to the weather protection provided by our modules. Additionally, our innovation significantly increases photosynthesis in plants. If you look up on the top right, the red line is a typical day of a plant and photosynthesis. Right around, I would say, right around 9:30 a.m., it immediately shuts down. Why? Because we have a lot of sun and it's too much. So the plants kind of retract. And then you can see the rest of the day at noon, it kind of hits a base level and carries out. But when they're underneath our modules, you can see the blue line, how photosynthesis carries on throughout the day, allowing for more plant growth. Additionally, rather than the practice of co-locating solar modules in crops has emerged as a viable solution to meet the increasing demand for food and energy, while reducing land use and preserving natural resources. As you can see on this slide, if you were to take two separate parcels, you put agriculture on one parcel, you put solar on another parcel, that's 100% efficiency for each parcel, just for that particular, whether it's agriculture or whether it's solar. However, when you combine them, you're going to use approximately 10% of the land for the solar modules in the racking system. But you're able to generate solar power, plus grow your crops with a higher yield. And I haven't even got to the water savings yet. But you can do that and you get an 80% land use efficiency. The benefits also include improved plant growth, extended growing seasons, and earlier access to market. The co-location of solar panels and crops also leads to an increased volume of crops by up to 30%, as well as a potential for additional harvests. The practice also uses 50% less water than compared to traditional farming methods. With agrivoltaics, farmers can preserve their farmland while also protecting crops from weather events, including extreme heat or cold. And lastly, the revenue generated from the energy production can offset farming costs and increase profits, providing an additional source of income for the farmers.
1 minute left.
Oh. All right, so our market opportunities, small farms are looking for new ways to survive and thrive. Agrivoltaics is that game changer. The global clean energy market is expected to reach $2 trillion by 2030, well above the $910 billion it is right now. The majority of growth coming from farms under 180 acres, which represents 83% of the overall market. Despite the increase in demand for solar, requiring costly, time-consuming environmental activities. Farmers have an incentive to convert farmland to solar projects, and since electrical generation is more profitable than farming. However, this causes problems too.
Want to end your sentence?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We are cheaper. We are more cost efficient. We're looking to raise $1 million. That's what we're doing. This is our team. I'm not going to go through the whole team, but I will point out a few things. Leading agrivoltaics expert in the United States, world-renowned photovoltaic researcher.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Here's
you.
the team.
Great. Thank you.
Few questions.
All right, so first of all, I love the product. Looks like you have some great proof points. I have two questions for you. The first one is the NRE behind you, or do you need the money to invest into the NRE, the non-recurring engineering costs, before you have a product that goes to manufacturing?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
So, are you familiar with the term NRE?
Yes.
So, is that behind you? Have you invested money in your completed NRE, and are you looking at moving into production? Or are you looking for money to complete your NRE?
We are looking for money to complete mine.
Got it. As you know, the market is very price sensitive. So what is the expected cost per acre
That's a good question. That's probably a question for
Around cost per watt.
cost per watt. We actually have that. That was at 95 cents. And we are cheaper than any of our competitors currently. Not only that, we're lighter. We can also diffuse the light down to the plants. So not only are we generating electricity, we're generating energy, but we are diffusing, we are taking out the non-beneficial lights for the plants, allowing only the blue and red lights through our solar modules so that our plants can grow more, faster, and have better leaves and all.
Okay. It's, by the way, is the next speaker here for Alba? Okay, good. I want to make sure you're here. Okay. We have time for one question.
I was just going to ask one quick question. Maybe just as somebody who's not familiar with how this works, can you explain technically? Is there because obviously there's these structures that are over the land. How, like, if you're the farmer, how they actually then can
Farm?
Yeah, farm.
Yeah, no problem. So racking systems typically, on average, are approximately anywhere from 8 to 12.
We have 10 seconds.
Which is why I pointed out that farming are smaller farms, 180 acres or less, and there's 83% of the farms are made consisting of 180 acres or less.
All right, great, thank you. Great. Next, we have Alba Manufacturing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tam Nguyen. I'm from Alpha Manufacturing. I'm actually forming a new company called Alpha Precision for a solution that we're providing for the industry. What we're trying to do is to redefine the precision manufacturing business. If you are not familiar with this business, we're talking about companies that are making precision components that look like this part on my hand right here. So before I get to the problems and the solution that we're trying to solve, just a quick background of my story and the company. I immigrated to the country when I was 18, about 18 years ago, from Vietnam, and I started to work for a small machine shop for my uncle, and then learned how to make parts, precision components, and then I went to school for mechanical engineering as well. In early 2012, I got done with school and then founded this company, Alpha Manufacturing, with 3 people and 3 machines. After 10 years, we got 40 CNC machines right now, 2 facilities in Southern California, and more than 65 people there. We have many clients today. We are Tier 1 supplier for companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon. So the idea that we're having is that we're trying to solve the problem for the industry, and we're forming a company called Alpha Precision to solve the supply chain problem especially for the defense and space sectors right now. So the problem is that if you're familiar with this industry, a lot of companies are making parts like this owned by mom and pop shops. They are mom and pop shop and owned by a lot of people in the baby boomer generations. So a lot of them are retiring. They're shutting down business, not only because of their age, but also because of the pandemic that putting a lot more stresses into the business. So a lot of them are closing down permanently right now in a very fast rate. And that's causing a lot of shortages in the supply chains right now for the defense and space markets. So the solutions that we're providing is this. So we try to acquire those shops. We're looking for shops that we see as a niche, having the right product, the right people, some technologies in there already that we could build into our ecosystem of Alpha. So the idea is that we try to acquire them and make them more efficient by reducing the overhead. So we operate as a model like the franchise model. Meaning that we trim down all the overhead over there, reducing all the key processes that cost them a lot of money, and then to have them focus on making sure they're making good parts and inspecting good parts for the customers. The problem with these mom and pop shop, 20, 30 people shop that we used to be into is that with a small environment, we have to do a lot within 20 and 30 people, like all the coding, sales, marketing, manufacturing parts, planning, and things like that. So we're trying to reduce those overhead by putting those overhead to the parent company, which is the Alpha Precision that we are forming. And the technologies that we're putting behind it as a foundation would be the robotics technology for loading system to solve the labor shortages that we have right now in the industry. And the other things that we're also doing as a foundation for the technology would be the AI software that we're building to put on top of the Epicor ERP system that we have. So this is the proprietary system that we are designing. This is a robot system. On the right, it's actually a standard CNC machine, but on the left, you see a column there. It's actually a robot arm that we're designing. And the other racks that you see there is actually like material racks and tools for removing metal. So the system that we have that we're designing actually a lot more special than the others because it can actually load tools as well as raw material. So a lot of systems similar like this are very costly on the market. We're designing the system that only 1/3 of the cost of the standard industry. So we have the design complete and we're building a prototype right now. So these are some of the high precision products that we've been making over the years. These are the two facilities that we have in Southern California. The top one is a founding facility, Alpha, and the second one is the company called Kimberly Machine. We actually acquired them last year at the tryout for the acquisition model that we are doing. For the traction for the last 2 years, many businesses may have problem with the sales and revenue. We've actually been growing in the last 2 years. So once we acquired the company last year, our revenue went up to about $7 million last year. Kimberly was the turnaround situation. They used to do about $4.5 million a year. They came down to about 1.3 when we acquired them. And then after we acquired them, we turned them around and got them to about $2.1 million last year. So we probably have to do a lot more this year with them as well. These are the top 8 customers that we have. If you can recognize the names that I mentioned earlier, like Boeing and some other defense companies. In the last 3 years, our numbers was, we made a total of $170 million worth of contract with them for these companies and some other customers. But we only did about $16 million in revenue because of the limited capacity. So that's why we're building the robotic system and things like that. So the market size is about $50 million on average in this industry. If you look at the major players there, you can see they are very small players around the countries. There's not a big player around the country. So that's why we're trying to acquire them and build the ecosystem. So I'm a CEO, I'm very hands-on in terms of experience in mechanical and manufacturing. I have a COO and the advisor who used to be a VP of Boeing that managed 30,000 people. So he's actually my personal mentor as well. The funding needs. So for the first 10 years, I bootstrapped everything myself. In early 2022, I started to raise small convertible notes from friends, and I got about 900,000 to start designing a robot. So we're raising about, we're trying to raise $10 million right now for convertible notes. So I'm gonna let we go to the questions, and then you guys can read some of the reasons why we are the best people for this business.
Great.
And this challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
From Orange County?
Yeah, I'm from Orange.
Which many of you, Orange County has a lot of manufacturing and defense industry contractors, right? So hubs for that. So, and so this is a different type of company than we often get, but we thought it'd be great for our investors to hear, especially their success story.
This is actually our first time trying to raise.
First time you're trying to raise money in how many years?
11 years.
11
yeah.
years.
That's remarkable. Good luck with fundraising. You mentioned about manufacturing by subtraction, which is the classic way of doing things. Are you considering additive manufacturing? Because like the industry is evolving towards 3D printing and stuff. So that's part A, and part B is I would like to know a little bit more about your AI capabilities. Is it just computer vision, or are you looking at planning and autonomy? Where are you today and where are you planning to go?
Okay, sounds good. So part A, we've been monitoring the additive 3D printing, but for our business, as far as like precision, really high precision model, they're not there yet. They're still a little bit far down from 3D printing. A lot of our customers, they're also printing metal parts, but they also still have to send it to us to do some tie tolerance dimensions. So we're monitoring. At some point, we'll get to investing into those kind of technologies too, but right now we're not adopting it yet. So for the part two, in terms of AI, so we try to do a lot more, not computer vision, but we try to do more on autonomy planning and scheduling for the system. So consider you got like hundreds of companies, manufacturing facilities around the country, right? How could you actually plan them efficiently and know which job, which type of parts should be going to which facility? So that's the AI part of it that we're doing. And for the planning part of it too. So we don't want an engineer to actually sit and plan out a job, these kind of components. We want them to use machine learning data to actually automate it, planning all the jobs.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. And you can talk to him after. One thing I wanted to mention is when the investors ask questions when you're on the stage, try to make short responses. The whole point is to engage and hear what they're thinking, but then you can have a longer, extended discussion out there so the audience gets to hear more questions. All right, now we have mixed life.
Hi, I am Deepa. I'm the founder and CEO of Mixed Life. I'm super excited to be here today. Our mission at Mixed Life is to solve for well-being through creativity and community. And this mission is something me and my team strongly believe in. I've had a personal experience with the transformative powers of creativity after I had a very narrow escape at the shooting on YouTube campus in 2018 and developed PTSD, which became chronic. And I saw how much of a difference creativity and community made to my recovery. And the specific problem that we're trying to solve here at Mixed Life is to address loneliness and burnout in the workplace, particularly in these times when productivity and morale matter the most, and 80% of the work of employees report symptoms of burnout. Loneliness alone costs US employers $150 billion in losses every single year. And we believe creativity and group play are time-tested hacks for human connection. Even before we had language to speak, we had music and we had art through which we communicated. So it's something very innate. And 75% of Americans have a creative hobby, which makes it one of the most interesting ways to connect people and experience well-being. And social prescription is growing in significance, particularly in countries across the world and in US too. And we see a big opportunity here. So our platform is a community building platform which is facilitated by dynamic instructors. And these communities range from storytelling to stand-up comedy to other shared interest groups which are moderated and led by instructors who are sometimes professors of arts, sometimes YouTube stars, and even comedians from Second City. And the idea is that we offer live interactive sessions as well as asynchronous online collaboration through AI-assisted experiences. As an example, our storytelling cohort has these interactive sessions where they connect with each other, but they also write storybooks together where each employee is contributing a line of the story to create something tangible which brings the group together. And in terms of metrics, we are very focused on mental well-being outcomes metrics, both quantitative burnout prevention as well as connection metrics. And everything we build here is for enterprise scale, including working with work collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams and Slack. And when you look at the competitive landscape, traditionally companies solve for sustained human connection by having physical offices where people show up every day, and none of that is very sustainable anymore with hybrid work becoming the new norm. And there are digital team building experiences that companies resorted to, which are one and done, like coffee tasting or coffee and mixing, but they're not really solving for sustained connection or mental well-being. And traditional mental health companies that are very popular today evolved from being self-care solutions, be it meditation or therapy, but aren't really solving again for connection or workplace employees coming together. And that's where we see Mixed Life coming in and addressing this gap in the ecosystem, which is very critical. And we believe community and creativity are high return on value for mental well-being. First of all, because of high utilization, because of creativity and the broad appeal of creativity, more people show up at the door and overcome stigma. In our early adopters, we've seen 14 times more utilization than EAP. And this is also a higher margin business because we're using instructors who are able to drive the well-being of multiple communities, which is far more scalable and higher margin than one-on-one therapy. And by leveraging the latest advances in AI, we are able to create community experiences which were not possible in the past by creating tailored experiences that are delightful and engaging. And last but not least, the network effect of creatives. Our team has been building the know-how of knowing where to hire, how to hire, and how to train creatives to be able to deliver on the values of mental well-being as well as community building. And as for the team, I was formerly a product manager at Google, where I specialized in AI and community building. I was a product lead for Google's first efforts to tackle hate speech and harassment online using large language models. Shrikant, our CTO, is a second-time founder. Previously had a successful exit with an edtech company. Also had engineering leadership roles at Oracle and Yahoo, where he managed over 30 engineers. Dr. Sarah Ness has a PhD in employee burnout prevention through creativity and has worked at the intersection of arts and health for over 2 decades. So a very diverse team. And we are seeing very strong outcomes in our early adopters, with employees reporting everything from very strong personal growth, improvement in confidence and self-expression, to well-being and connection to co-workers. We have a very strong pipeline and growing demand, including some of the biggest Fortune 100 companies, and we are actively closing our first annual contract. I'm happy to speak about the specifics outside. And we are targeting a 30 to 40 million ARR in the next 3 to 4 years. As for the go-to-market strategy, we're starting with pilots in organizations and leading to organization-wide adoption, and our distribution comes through benefit brokers and health plans. We also see the value of our offering as an intergenerational benefit, so dependent mental well-being, including teen and kids' mental health, is something on our roadmap in the future. Our pricing is on a per employee per month basis at $3 per employee per month. And we are targeting 2 million ARR this year, and from year 3 onwards, we use our distribution channels, such as health brokers. As for the market size, you're looking at the global workplace mental health market and cultural benefits market, with a serviceable market focused on US workplaces with over 500 employees. As for fundraising, we are targeting a 300,000 raise. We have to close our 1 million pre-seed round. We've already raised 700,000 from early investors in the Calm app, ClassPass. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have one question. So you just started the trial run, right? So how many users you have currently?
So we've done pilots with about 3 companies, one which is a $1 trillion company and one which is the other which are 2,000 member companies. So we have these pilots themselves were for like 100 users or so, but the rollout is for at least 2,000 employees. So we currently are targeting about 10,000 users in the next 2 to 3 months.
So is obviously with remote work, remote teams distributed all over the place. So it's basically this is an opportunity to, so for example, even in companies like Google,
yeah,
teams that used to be together, they're spread all over the place. So is that the opportunity that is actually a bigger opportunity now than before to actually connect everybody? They're isolated in different spots? And then I guess the second follow-up to that is that, are you targeting the, the bigger, for example, tech companies like Google, or obviously you have startups and smaller companies that are spread all over the place now, or is that sort of like second phase?
Yeah, we started actually going with the larger enterprises, and so like the Googles of the world, and we are also looking at 2,000 plus employee organizations because the sales cycles are faster, but we see bigger potential in enterprise because there is a huge need to address sense of belonging and connection, as well as mental well-being as work-life boundaries have reduced, so people are definitely having challenges with mental health despite all the other benefits that these companies offer.
I have a question on the technical side. So you mentioned that you're using AI assisted communities, and then you also mentioned that AI is helping you create tailored experiences. Are the experiences predefined and AI helps you identify what's applicable to you, or are they generative when you create those experiences using AI?
So I would say because we have these pipeline of instructors, each instructor is able to tailor. As an example, if it's like sketching or storytelling, they're able to ensure that the community is more tailored to that experience. As an example, when someone posts, ensuring that it's more relevant to what the community is designed for. So it's more like few shot training and using existing large language models, but then ensuring that the AI helps them in creative expression in a way that's more applicable for that specific domain. Right? So as an example, if you're trying to do creative expression, we want to ensure that there's nothing that the AI system helps them create which is actually adversely affecting the user. So really ensuring that we train using weights what kind of images like AI should be generating in this circumstance. I'm happy to explain.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Hi there. I'm Valerie Jones. I'm from a company called Luxolis, and I'm one of the co-founders. And Luxolis is all about using AI 3D to make the real world work better. With Luxolis technology, architects, engineers, and builders can easily capture 3D images with a phone or a tablet. And when this video is basically using LiDAR on a tablet or on a screen to capture the image in the room. You can see one of our engineers slowly. He's scanning the electrical room, and what happens when you scan, it automatically uploads to the cloud. And once it's in the cloud, you can share it with anyone. So it's almost immediate. For every 1 minute of scan, it takes 3 minutes to upload, probably faster than this video. And once it's in the cloud, you can have it, you can collaborate, you can measure. So you can measure, tag, chat, and work with the image. And when you look at 3D images, you can capture light, you can see around doors, you get a high amount of accuracy for measurement, and in the AEC category, that's really important for the accuracy. I guess we just let it run. We'll wait for a second, but I'll just show you. So once you have it captured on your phone, and then you can see the measurements of the building.
Just wait a little. It should finish the first video. I told you about slow internet.
Oh, there you go. So you can see, you can tag, so you can say door, fire extinguisher, you can measure, oh, that disappears, and then you can comment. So far, we're generating revenue. So we've generated $3 million of revenue in 2 years. And that's consulting, software as a service, and from software licensing. We've raised $2.5 million in equity, mostly from publicly traded funds based in Korea. And then we've also raised money in the form of grants. So far, we have 1,500 downloads, actually 1,600, I checked today. We're growing at a very rapid rate, with 1,000% growth in downloads. We're looking for 100,000 downloads by the end of the year, and that's highly achievable based on our cost of acquisition of $12. And what we're looking to is we're looking to grow the accuracy. So what's really important about 3D is that we're never done. 3D accuracy, the LiDAR captures the images, but you need technology, you need AI on the back end to take those images and make sense of them. And so as time goes on with our computers, with our computer engineers, the accuracy will get better and better. So we're an engineering powerhouse based in Toronto, and Toronto is in some worlds known as Silicon Valley North. And so we have 40% master's degrees, 70% engineers, 30% PhDs, a lot of really smart people. Brian, the other founder, this is his second company that he's built. And then we have, as I mentioned, some very smart people. So the concept is that we're giving away this free app, and then we're expecting 5% to upgrade to the paid SaaS version. We're going to give product away to third-party companies that are in the project management industry, project management software, integrate with that. So there's lots of project management software out there that will allow you to upload images, but they're flat images. So we're going to give it away to them so that they can upload 3D images. And then by the summertime, we're going to have a camera, and this camera will have 4 cameras on with a processing unit on the camera so that it can process it very rapidly, but get a huge lot of data collected from 4 different cameras. All of these feed into the Luxo's platform. And what's in the platform? The platform contains data, lots and lots of data taken from these images, from these 3D images, a viewer in order to view the image, collaboration tools so that people in the field can collaborate with people in the office, the architects in the office, the workers in the field, and storage. So there's the opportunity to store the images on behalf of the companies that sign up. And what the camera gives us, so right now the LiDAR is specifically mostly available just on the iPhone Pro. The camera opens up the world to anybody, not just the iPhone user. 30 seconds to... So we do have competitors, but the competitors lie either in the very low end or in the very high end. And we sit very nicely, neatly in the middle at a price point that can make 3D available to everyone. And what we're doing is we're asking to raise $15 million at a pre-evaluation of $30 million. And that funding is to grow our app downloads. It's also to grow our sales and to continually improve the accuracy of our computer vision.
Ready? Great. Thank you. All right. Questions from the judges?
I have a couple of questions. The first question is from the revenue. You mentioned also part of it is consulting. Can you, what's the percentage of this consulting, and actually what does the consulting cost?
Yeah, consulting, is roughly 30%. And what we've done is we give our product, we give our SDK to somebody else to develop on top of it. So as an example, they've used our SDK to build a fitness app. So basically, you tell the user whether or not the movements are accurate. Another consulting engagement example is we've scanned a room. So in APAC, they have this restaurant with a robot, and so we use 3D to properly scan the area so that the robot knows where to go.
Okay, so the second follow-up question is like, you mentioned like $3 million in 2 years.
Yeah, check their
So what's the first year and what's the revenue
The
second?
first year was mostly consulting, and then the second year was mostly our software, rent or SaaS model, giving them the SDK.
And what was the revenue in the 2022?
Sorry?
Revenue in 2022.
It was 1 million, and in 2022 it was 2 million, and the first year, 1.5, and anyway, 1.5 and 2.
Okay, and who were the clients who paid you money?
Mostly in South Korea. An affiliate of Samsung was one of them. The other one was Balance Play. That was another organization. That was the fitness app.
What was the largest check from one customer?
I would say Balance Play was the biggest. And they're growing, and they've signed up for a couple of years as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? All right, great, thank you. Next, we have Flow Pharma. And we're right on schedule. Now we're into we have 2 5-minute pitches, then we have 3 minutes. So we're right on schedule to end it. Oh, and then we have a few more 4 minutes. Okay, yeah, sure.
Good afternoon, everybody. My
have 4?
name is Tom Brady.
Great.
I have a jersey in the aisle to prove it, but I'm not married to a supermodel. Do I look like It's a pleasure to speak to you today. I'm at the Stanford GSP. I just graduated from the LEAD program, which is for senior executives, and we had a major celebration this week. I led a tour of Triple Ring Technologies, you may know it, in Newark. But our company, Flow Pharma, is based in Cleveland, Ohio. We started in California, but we moved the whole operation to Cleveland, Ohio. Why? Because there's a little institution there called the Cleveland Clinic that absolutely is fascinated and has become our partner for cancer therapeutics. And I'll take you through this journey. We generate revenue. We've already billed $1.5 million to the Department of Defense because we figured out how to use mathematics to develop vaccines, totally synthetic peptide vaccines, and without the need for any refrigeration. So we don't use DNA or RNA. That's why we can treat COVID with one shot and not have to go back and sell you a booster program every year. That's ridiculous. We are a fully synthetic company, which means we use peptides, peptide chemistry, and deliver in a microsphere to our animal preclinical studies that have all been successful and tested at UTMB and Galveston National Lab. That's a BSL-4 lab. The Department of Defense has vetted us and awarded us not only the contract for Ebola, but because we were successful, 100% survivability in animals, they said we have a much greater need for weaponized Ebola. You have just won the Margaret contract. We're pleased to be working with La Jolla Institute. Lockheed Martin scaled us up to 1 million doses a month per machine. Now we're up to 10 million doses per machine in our own facility in Cleveland, Ohio. We use the body's own immune system to fight cancers and beat infectious disease. We already raised $23 million in Series A, and we act like a sniper, not a shotgun, but an arrow and attack specific tumors. I have this whole deck, but this is the long deck. You're getting the advanced quick deck. We use GEA, the German pharmaceutical system. It's installed in our offices, so we're scaled to do large production. We have a track record with Reed Groupson, who already had an IPO, and he has 72 personal patents, 10 patents issued for the company, 24 patents pending. Paul Harris created the HLA typing at Columbia University. Scott Perkles runs AI. I run business development Stanford, and then we've got our finance team, and Stephen Farr on our board just sold his company for $2 billion to a Belgian pharmaceutical. Tundi Otalana is an FDA reviewer who's on our board. Why are we developing vaccines against resistant cancers? Because it's very hard to do, and there's a huge payoff for the 2.3 million women around the world that get breast cancer. So we are partnered with the Cleveland Clinic to work on a protocol that they have approved, and they already have the women coming in. It's a proportionally high number of women coming from the Latina and the Black population who have the triple-negative breast cancer. We also figured out for the government that our COVID vaccine was effective in all cases against all variants. So this is our scientific papers. We're all published. This is our current status with a partner in Saudi Arabia and the Cleveland Clinic. We're only 10 people. We're bringing the Cleveland Clinic to Saudi Arabia in this arrangement because of our peptide chemistry. We don't rely on animal products, which means there's 1.8 billion Muslims who would take our medicine without hesitation in 45 countries. So we're negotiating that contract with Saudi Vax because we would like them to be our distributor.
10 seconds.
Thank you. We're raising $10 million right now, and we have already, as I mentioned earlier, raised 23 with the government contract. So we have a whole program, we have a winning team, and we are going to access $800 million in non-dilutive capital from the Saudi health system who wants to work with us.
We need to stop.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much. Great presentation.
Who was leading in round A?
250 investors in Series A.
And they're gonna
Mostly life science people, physicians, Rising Tide Fund here in Menlo Park, some money from the East Coast from family offices.
any VCs?
I didn't pitch to any VCs in Series A.
No, it's in reserves.
So, well, we'd like VCs. We'll bring back
On the technical portion of it is, are you being a protein inhibitor in this to disrupt the cancer chain?
We shrink tumors
by
using the peptide chemistry to kill the tumors.
By disrupting which portion of the cancer life cycle?
The method of action
yes.
is a peptide reaction. It's a CTL, cytotoxic lymphocyte, kills the tumor.
Okay.
And we have plenty of published papers to satisfy your curiosity.
Very interesting. It's been a long time on this.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah. Do you actually can this be eaten by people or just by people who don't want, or vegan or vegetarian, don't want animal products at all?
We don't use any animal products at all.
So is this a market you can reach out for Saudi Arabians?
We've got a huge constituency worldwide for this product.
Great.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you
much.
very much. Next, we have High Counselor. When we get to yours, you can tell me what to do.
Go back.
What?
What's wrong? Try again.
Hi everyone, I'm Aditya Sharma. I'm co-founder and CEO of High Counselor. Today we are going to talk about the transformation that is needed in the process of job search and upskill. And this discussion is required because job search process looks something like this today. It's very inefficient, very frustrating. And there are two major reasons behind this. First is entire job search and application process is manual today. 83% of world job seeking population, they know only one way of finding job. Go to a job board, manually search for a job, and then manually apply to each and every job position. And even when they apply to these job positions, they get rejected because of not having hands-on work experience. So in 2020, myself and my co-founder, we left our jobs from Deloitte to transform the entire job application process and the way we can generate a job-ready talent. Here is how we did it. We created first an auto application tool. This tool automatically searches jobs for candidates every single week, and then it automatically applies on candidates' behalf. Imagine that nobody is ever manually searching and applying to jobs. We built this tool using AI and intelligent automation, launched it 5 months ago, generated amazing results. Second, to generate job-ready talent, we built a cloud environment in which candidates can build and deploy real-world coding applications without any local setup on the system. So that they don't learn just technical skills like Java and Python in academic settings, they learn it through experiential learning, which makes them much better software developers and data scientists. And while building these two systems, we ended up building the entire ecosystem for a job seeker. And the entire platform is automated, whether it requires upskilling, resume, or getting the automatic interview calls. We are focusing on two major personas. One is people who are starting their career, that is career starters, and people who are switching their careers. The entire global market is about $285 billion. Right now, we are focused only on the US, and that too on software engineering, data science, and product management job roles, which is about $5 billion in market. We work on income share agreement where candidates don't pay anything to utilize our platform initially. Once they land a job, they pay 9% of their first year salary to us. So on an average, a candidate make about $83,000 and 9% of it is about $7,400 that we get. It's a very high profit margin business in which we make about 80% gross margin. In Q3 of this year, we plan to launch a SaaS model of it. Our progress so far, so we bootstrapped back in 2020 after leaving our jobs from Deloitte and Kronos, and we made 100% year-over-year growth in the last 2 years. Last year, we made about $4 million in bookings and about $1.6 million in revenue. Let's jump into product effectiveness. So to make that 1.6 million in revenue last year, we placed about 350 candidates. These 350 candidates come from 75 different universities across the US, including tier 1, 2, 3, and boot camps. They landed a job at about 120 different size of employers. They come from very diverse backgrounds, and only 15% of it cancelled in the first 1 week of free trial. 90% of them who continued landed a job. Average salary $83,000, and average time to land a job is 13 weeks, including their upscaling period through our real world projects platform. And net promoter score is about 62. Got it. Regarding go-to-market strategy, we always focused on organic marketing rather than paid advertisement. The result of it, we got about 100,000 followers on LinkedIn in the last 4 to 5 months. And we tried various strategies where we identified that if we put $1, we'll get 10 to 100x return in customer acquisition. We also focus on strategic partnership, and the most recent partnership that we made is with Coursera, where we signed the deal with Coursera, where Coursera learners are going to complete their course, will come to High Council platform to actually land their jobs, to get those hands-on experience, as well as to automatically get interviews. As I said, last year we made about 4 million in booking. This year we are looking at about 12 million in booking and about 5.5 million in revenue. There are 3 major pillars of our business. First is technology. We literally took almost 9 months to crack that code of automatically applying to job positions, as well as creating that in-browser ID so that people can make real-world applications without any local setup. And finally, we are also building the entire ecosystem, right? So we are just not about, okay, we only help you with getting the experience or just getting the interview call. We are doing everything that a job seeker can do. In terms of the team, I come from an engineering background and I graduated from Duke University. And after graduating from Duke, I worked at PwC and Deloitte for about 4 years in San Francisco, and I take care of product marketing and technology at High Council. My co-founder is MBA from Kellogg School of Business, has about 10 years of experience in strategy and management consulting, and he takes care of operations and marketing. One final thing, we raised about 1.9 million last year from VCs in Silicon Valley, and now we are raising about 3 million in safe note in seed round. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions from investors?
از نظر بیزینسی
Interesting idea. And do you think that in some time after you introduce this product, on the other side, I mean on the corporation side, for example, yeah, we'll be working AI as well and looking for the candidates for whom AI helped to send their resume. So it will be AI to AI conversation.
Yes, so right now what we do is, our system automatically applies to any job position across the globe that is available on like on Indeed, Dice, and any other platforms. But so that's the help we provide to job seekers. But it's an amazing service for employers as well because they get only relevant candidates and not unnecessary applications. So a lot of employers have already partnered with us. More than 80 employers, including Mercedes-Benz, Deloitte, PwC, they have already partnered with us and now take direct candidates from us. We don't charge them anything. So we get more employer pool and hence more customers for us.
Okay, thank you. And who was investing in the previous round? I mean, you mentioned some VCs.
Yeah, so first round that we made raised last year of 1.9 million. So we raised from Heroic Ventures, Aria Fund, and 3 other angel investors. One of them is the managing director of Deloitte, another is head of US Wipro, and another is a leader in State Farm Insurance.
Thank you.
Can you speak to the conversion rate? So you made 350 placements.
Yes.
How many users do you have, job seekers do you have on the platform?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the product effectiveness slide, we provide first week of free trial of our platform. Only 15% canceled in the first week of free trial. 85% of those who continued, 90% of them have landed a job.
And was that through the platform or some of it is outside the platform?
Through the platform. By the way, we provide the entire ecosystem. What I told you is only the automatic job application, but we have the automated system for networking, automated system for websites. Right? So we attack a job for a job seeker from multiple directions.
All right, great. All right, thank you very much. Okay. Now, are we doing this? Okay, Mooney. Okay, Mooney is next. Is that, who's that? Or is that him? Oh, sorry, what's that one? What's the name of it? Mooney? Okay. These are your 4 minutes now, right?
Mm-hmm. 4 minutes.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Yes. First of all, I'm sorry for my English. So, hi guys. There is one word to describe my project. The word is carpe diem. Do you know what it is? Yes, seize the day. Seize the day, right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex Castelli. I'm an engineer from France, and I found the solution to don't miss any opportunities in your life again. Did you notice that every time you try something in your life, an activities or something, you have to wait for your friends or family? Like if you want to try to go to plan on vacation or even to try sports or take to wait, and if they can't do it, then you just do nothing. This problem happened to me 2 years ago. I wanted to go to Mexico with my best friend. We booked everything, and at the last minute, he canceled it and let me down. So in my mind, I wanted to scream to the world that is there somebody on the world who wants to join me to this trip? And there was this big question in my head, like, why do you have to wait someone? Why, how many opportunities do we miss already like that? So I was speaking about a solution, and it's not a new dating apps or social media. It's to create the first patient app. It's called Muni. Muni is the first patient app about your culture and opportunities. You can meet people around your favorite patients, and there is 3 types of users. If you are curious, passionate, or isolated during like the pandemic. How we make money? Pretty easy. It's about partnership. We have some sales promotion in it. And if you want to go skydiving, it will be cheaper with us than to go by yourself. We also have some subscription inside the application. And if you are a user who subscribe to the application, a part of it will be donated to some association. So everyone will be involved on cause about ecology, starvation, or even poverty. But Muni is not only Muni is not only dating apps. It's also a big universe around mythology, Greek mythology. There is a legend behind. And I want to expand this for new market, like the mascot market. So we can think about like nuts, shirts, even teddy bears, even bigger like a restaurant like the Moody Bars, or where you can eat a big Moody, for example. We are here to looking for 300,000 euros against 10% equity. And this is the cost for at least the application to be safe, easy to use, and nice looking. And I have one last question for you: is are you ready to see the day with me today? Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from any of the judges?
So I guess so you're still developing the application, or you've already or there's like a beta version of the application?
It's a beta version on in Paris. We have 2,000 users, and we want to release the application this summer, and maybe extend there in San Francisco.
And those 2,000 users currently, those are for experiences within France, or?
Friends, universities, and everything on the front, yeah. So universities in France.
Any more questions? Yeah.
I'm gonna ask what your revenue is in the subscription, and what differentiates over things like.
Let's get their next one ready.
Is
that it, Korean?
Groupon and stuff like that. What differentiates you from like Groupon and others?
Well, today the application is not really available on the market, but we raised 20,000 euros for the moment with Love Money, friends, and school with the government of France.
Right. No, what makes it different from Groupon and others?
Oh yeah, we have like competitors like Meetup or Tinder or everything. But here in Munich, if you want to do something like we don't know what to do tonight or next weekend, well, you just go to the application and you become the right partner for you. Because if you go like Meetup, you can just learn a new languages or teach someone about how to program something, but it's more like 10, 20 or 30 people. Here in Munich, it's just about a small group, maximum 10 people.
Thank you. All right, great. Thank you very much. Great program. Next we have Brian. Thank you.
Everybody hear me back? How's it going, everybody? My name is Stratos. I'm the founder of Podium, a company that I believe is a surprising solution to ocean waste. That solution is not to clean our ocean. In fact, cleaning our oceans is the last thing that we must do. Imagine you were to go to your home today and you find your faucet was left running. Now there's water spilling onto the floor. What is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to grab a mop and a bucket? No. Why not start by turning off the tap? See, last year, California has dumped 6 billion plastic bottles and aluminum cans into our oceans and natural environments. And those materials were worth over $600 million. So to understand why we're not recycling, let's take a look at both types, starting with multi-stream recycling, which is the blue bin here we're on. So their cons is that they put together a bunch of different materials, making them almost impossible to ever recycle. And they charge us for that service. But their pro is that they're accessible because they come to us. Now let's look at single-stream recycling, which is where we take our cans and our bottles to recycle them ourselves. Their pro is, their cons is that they're less accessible than ever, and they require a lot of effort. But their pro is that they do recycle the materials individually, and they pay us for their service. So the obvious solution is then to eliminate the cons and to group the pros, which many companies have tried and have failed because their approach is always the same. And it's to buy large fleets of vans and hire hourly workers to operate and maintain the fleets. But this business model is just not sustainable. Our solution is to look at the people that they fail to see who are solving this problem every single day. Immigrant men and women who earn a living by scavenging for recycling throughout our cities, working 18 hours a day in the vans and trucks that they oftentimes live in to make a living. See, we're going to change their lives by drastically improving their quality of work and turning them to the front lines of preventing ocean waste. See, at Green, we provide our users with infrastructure and solutions for them to easily accumulate and sort their plastic bottles and aluminum cans. Our best example of this is Greenie, our patent pending receptacle that can now be found in over 30 establishments throughout San Francisco, serving all of these industries. We believe that we can easily translate this concept into all these other industries as well. Once our users have accumulated a minimum amount, they request a pickup, our drivers arrive to collect and recycle the materials. Earnings are split 3 ways. Now, in one pickup, our drivers can earn more than the average DoorDash delivery, and what used to take them over 2 hours to collect, giving them a new sense of pride and dignity in their work. And our users, now it's making it easy for anyone to take advantage of the recycling that they produce. On top of that, we also provide them with in-depth statistics about the positive eco impact that they're making on our environment by using our service. Turning recycling from an abstract idea into a tangible concept that we can all participate in and benefit from. Since our beta test, we've already recycled over 30,000 pounds of aluminum cans and plastic bottles, which has helped to power, has conserved enough energy to power 400 homes for a month, or 100 cars to travel 140 miles. And we've prevented 17,000 cubic feet of waste from entering our oceans and natural environments. Today, we're asking for an investment of $100,000 that will go towards finalizing our apps that will function the same way that Uber does, because we believe that we are the Uber of recycling. Also look toward other things that will help us scale at a much more faster rate. We're just starting this very seed stage, pre-seed, basically, but yeah, thank you guys all for your time, and I hope that together we can all turn off the tap. Thank you.
So I guess these containers, is the model to have them at, like, what are the examples of sort of like the places you have in the Bay Area?
For sure, yeah. Our largest example, I think, that more people can recognize is like the Podium or Akif, or just there in San Francisco. If you guys have ever been around there. But what I'd like to say about these receptacles, they're just one of the solutions that we provide. We even serve a church, but they're not necessary, right? This is just one solution we provide for some restaurants that we found that they do require somewhere where people can, the users, the customer can dispose of their stuff themselves, but they're not necessary. We also provide a bunch of other restaurants with more discreet solutions that are invisible to the user that comes into their establishment. We also serve homes as well, so we have a bunch of homes. That's our biggest user actually.
So I guess my question is that obviously there's all kinds of potential, use cases and types of customers and homes and everything. But wouldn't it be better to then maybe, rather than doing this model of people you can pick up through the app, to test it out with like larger venues that have, like, for example, we work with sports, so for example, stadiums where you could do a pilot and there's like high volume at one time, and then obviously.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's essentially what we want to get to. we don't think that we're at a state because of the support that we have behind us to get to those types of levels, I guess we could say. But that is a great example of what we wanted to. When you go to like 18 Oracle Park, I guess now they call it Chase Center, they sell cans, they don't even sell glass bottles anymore. And those materials are mostly end up, like I said, in our natural environments, our oceans. So we think that we're a solution that can make sure that those materials get recycled individually at single stream recyclers and like I said, turn off the tap on that.
And if anybody else has a question, there's just, I guess, one last question on that is that are the places that you're placing these things, or the businesses or wherever? So are they actually receiving any revenue from?
Yeah, they are. So then, like I said, should have made that a little more clear. But then the earnings are split three ways. So our users do get some money, and they are incentivized to keep using our service because they do earn a proportion of the revenue.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Now we talk about flagship.
Hi friends, Vic here, founder at Flagship, CX Entrepreneur, listed two companies in the US, one in the UK, raised about $6 billion so far. What made me to start Flagship is my two young boys. Their interest in businesses, how excited they were to build a company, made me to do that. So Flagship, we are fostering next-gen entrepreneurs and sustainable leaders. Right, so I think we are living in a world where schools are still providing traditional education. They are not providing the wisdom what our new age entrepreneurs need. So, and then they are not too much focused on students' specific interest, how to develop those, how to bring those out. And students are still doing those traditional entrepreneurship entrepreneurships, doing same pizza shop, stores kind of internships. Freshers also struggling. Corporates are facing problems. They are not getting new skilled employees or interns. Nowadays, we have quite a few theoretical entrepreneurship courses available, but those are very, very expensive, and there is nothing beyond. So there is no mentorship, there is no hand-holding to bring out the idea, to launch a business, to kind of provide a specific platform wherein the same data just from the same platform can be used by investors and they get funded faster and build the business. So that's what we exactly resolve. We help students right from elementary and high school to develop skills, focus on their interest, take out their passion, convert that into businesses. We provide them practical entrepreneurship courses. We help them to learn digital marketing, coding, launch business on our platform, raise funds. So that's exactly the problem we resolve. Now, many traditional people think that we are talking too much. I think elementary students, kids, they may not be ready, but these are few small examples wherein starpreneurs just in California, they have built amazing businesses. Shark Tank for kids, and there are many other platforms which are great evidences that this is really the future. Very, very large market, $6.8 trillion market globally. Everything is online, so we can capture that over long term. US itself close to $500 billion. California, where we are starting, is about $50 billion. Obviously, we cannot do everything together. We are starting with entrepreneurship course, mentoring them, helping them to launch a business, conclude an idea, raise funds, then create a community where they can interact, learn through like-minded people. They can raise capital, and then helping them to focus on sustainability, because that's the future. We all need to survive tomorrow. Sustainability is very, very important. They have to know today that what kind of products, what kind of stuff they should use to build a new product or a new business. We make money obviously through course fee, subscription, platform fees, fundraise commission, and partnership with other platforms. We don't have any competitor, that's why we are here. Yes, we have few near comparables. There are platforms who are funding already built entrepreneurs, providing theoretical entrepreneurship courses or giving tools, but there is no one platform which stitches everything together. I talked about me, other team members, Rach, 2X entrepreneur, Martek from Water, CTO with 25 years of platform development experience, business development with more than 20 years of experience. Person to highlight, Tony Scott. He's the ex-CTO Disney, Microsoft, CIO at federal government. Looking to raise about $2 million right now. Actual pictures of my young boys who have actually built few businesses and helping their friends also to build business on our platform. Thank you.
Questions from any of the judges?
Yeah, one question. So what's your go-to-market strategy? Do you go to teams or you try to market to individuals?
Right. So we are starting with schools.
So now we're
we
done.
are
We're in 3 minutes. Okay.
Those are the best ways to demonstrate the need of the product, but gradually we will move more online, focusing on a specific area, then expand.
So what's your pricing model?
Pricing model, initially we are starting with $500 per month, and it's about a 3-month course, wherein other companies are charging about $9,000 for a theoretical entrepreneurship course. So massive difference.
So $500 per month is like per school, per student, or
per student per month.
Per school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yeah. All right, great, thank you very much. Okay, we're doing great. We're now into the 3-minute pitches, and we already have the food, so as soon as we're done, we'll be having dinner in about 20 minutes. All right.
Hello.
Solar power, yeah, it's called SP.
Interim
It's
CFO
called SPU.
of Ziggy, EV Safe Charge. And I'm here to represent the company. So the problem that we're trying to solve, EVs are fixed. There's becoming not enough of them. There's long distances between EVs and EV charging, so options are limited. Infrastructure is expensive.
It's right here.
And charging is
Solar powered
fixed.
tech.
So meet Ziggy. This is a first in the world remote charging unit. It also has advertising capability as well as multiple uses, which I'll share in just a moment. So current revenue streams, charging as a service, rentals of the units, leasing options, as well as ad revenue. Again, mobile charging is the focus here. Some of the customer options that we're working with right now: parking lots, airports, event venues, office and retail. We do have a current customer base of rental units that are fixed, so we do have a rental income coming from fixed units, and now we're working on having a mobile unit. This is a picture of the unit. I can share a video, but since I only have 3 minutes, the video I can show you in the lobby. Some features, they're, again, mobile units. So the opportunity here is really quite large. 130 million market. Currently, there's 19 million, or sorry, about 6 million, I think, EVs in the US, expected to be 19 million by 2030. Again, the infrastructure is increasing rapidly. Total addressable market, again, the potential here that we're actually trying to address is about 0.5% of the market, and that represents approximately 620 million obtainable market. We have the current design in place, we have the engineering in place, we have a manufacturing agreement in place to manufacture at larger scale. And right now we have a number of partners. It's primarily based on our existing rental units that are going that are built by AE. We do have a number of LOIs in process, a number of sales that are in discussion. We have an agreement with, or hoping to form an agreement with Miami International Airport, Swissport, who represents 230 airports around the world, as well as paid pilots with DFW and utility provider. So this is hopefully using the units to service the airport. We're asking for $9 million, and I'd love to chat after.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you. All right. Any questions from any of the judges?
So your back goes to the other car's back, right?
Yes.
Obvious. How does the battery packs get recharged?
They return to a charging unit, so that's part of the units can actually, it's not a, hey, park in the spot and the spot is taken. We have an app, so you call up the app reserves a parking spot. So it's also the benefit of that you would be able to have a spot reserved in a spot that's maybe has all the capacity taken. The unit comes out, you park your car, plug in Zenny charges your car. Again, this is kind of more of a top-up functionality rather than, you know, full charge. It does take longer because you're going to go battery to battery, but ultimately you can get that top-up functionality out of Target or wherever you're parking your EV right now.
The flexibility on deployment's attractive, right? But are you getting power from the building or
Yes.
It's powered primarily from the preserved vendor. So again, it doesn't require the fixed infrastructure that maybe a high-speed charger would require, but again, it's going to necessarily have the same capacity.
Solar power tech. Is that what it's called, solar power tech?
Maybe you already said this, so I'm going to ask the question anyways. So how does it get delivered? Is the components taken to the destination, or does it require an operator?
It requires an operator currently. And that actually helps with the safety, because again, if you're going to drive this around Heathrow, you don't want to crash into an airplane.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sunrise Point. Henry?
You guys hear me? Okay, my name is Henry, and
One second, we're getting it up.
okay, my name is Henry. I'm from Solar Power Utility Technology out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm here to present a new cryptocurrency or digital asset, the Sunray Coin. Sunray Coin is a cryptocurrency that is created or actually produced by solar panels that are generating electricity on the peer-to-peer Sunray blockchain network. And this is really the focus of my talk or presentation here, is the Sunray network, which is a blockchain network that is operating on the Cardano blockchain, which is powered by two technologies, or two devices, which are solar panels and nodes. Solar panels, I'm sure you're familiar with, seen on homes, land sites, and solar farms. And nodes are basically data loggers that are commonly used by the Weather Service to collect data such as weather information, humidity, and all. And they're also used by the solar industry to collect data on the performance of solar panels. You have to understand the basics of solar, I'm sure. I don't know if any of you own solar panels in your homes, but they're basically connected to meters. Your solar panels are metal roofs connected to meters or inverters. And all solar panel systems are connected to inverters. inverters, as you can see, this is a little white box there, connected to the battery or test the power walls here. And they basically convert DC electricity to AC current use in your homes or the power grid. And this is where data loggers of the nodes are attached to the inverters to monitor the performance of your solar panels. So we've done a number of field tests where we use solar panels and tested on different nodes from different companies with data loggers. And we actually have our own Sunray node in which we have universal, basically it's a different type of sensor or data logger where it has special sensors that can transmit data wirelessly to the internet and also get to be placed on the blockchain network. So for every megawatt of energy produced by your solar panels, you're rewarded 1 Sunray coin. And this is where we have customers where we want them to increase the efficiency of their solar panel systems where the more electricity you produce, the more Sunray coins you're rewarded. So this can be used on off-grid and on-grid applications, meaning you do not need to be connected to the power grid to be on this network. So we have, for our company, we are the first and only solar energy company that's actually that's actually deploying these nodes to the market, and we hope that we could be.
Thank you.